Petting a stranger's dog on campus used to be a part of normal day life, but now there's an added danger. Could petting a dog lead to you catching coronavirus? Ethan Cash has the story.
Good morning. Reporting from Fort Worth, Texas, on the campus of Texas Christian University. Like Ohio State, in the common grounds, there are dogs everywhere. People walking dogs and letting dogs walk around. But is it quite safe to pet a dog? Can you contract the virus from a dog, or can someone with the virus pet a dog and give it back to their owner? I asked some people on campus.
I believe it's a possibility. I don't know how much of a possibility it is. Just for the reason that you said, and that requires people getting close to me, and I'll pass.
That's a great question. I mean, we're in Texas, so anything really goes. But when it comes down to, I'm not really concerned about it.
I was able to ask a veterinarian expert here on campus, Professor of Veterinary Science, Jesse Smith, just to see what science and what his professional opinion has to say about petting dogs during the pandemic.
The chance is very low. There is a probability. There is always a probability, but the chance is very low. It's actually more of a chance that the collar on the dog would be where the virus would settle.
So according to Dr. Smith, he recommends that it is fine to pet dogs during the pandemic as long as you keep your 6 feet social distancing from the actual human that the dog belongs to, while always wearing a mask. For Buckeye TV News, I'm Ethan Cash.
Next up, many people have never heard of Zoom before coronavirus, much less have encountered a need to use it, and have become a part of everyone's lives. Will we ever get to delete it post-pandemic? Find out now with Olivia Hirsch.
Beginning in March of this year, most businesses and organizations were forced to cease face-to-face operations due to the danger ensued by the coronavirus. As students, we've become accustomed to this new, eerie version of campus. But what does the workplace look like during these uncertain times when going virtual seems to be the only option?
At the Cleveland Leadership Center, we have been making a lot of changes. There is a lot of software and tools that are out there to help connect in a virtual world. One of the biggest changes is how we're interacting here is through the Zoom platform.
We've tried to focus on engagement since we're not all in the same place together. During the pandemic, our company actually implemented Microsoft Teams, which is a new software. I think it was an adjustment at first. I would say it's definitely helped in productivity.
Over the past few months, businesses have worked tirelessly to successfully optimize these new methods. As a result, some of them may become our new workplace normal.
There is definitely a cohort in our staff who don't want to go back to an office. We decided in June that we were not going to renew our lease to our current facility because we saw in the first couple months of the pandemic, we were still able to keep up our level of production without being in a physical space.
And so for our graduating seniors entering the workforce next year, what differences should you be expecting? And the big ticket question,
will we ever delete Zoom?
I think people will somewhat revert back to doing things face to face, but I think having those tools available, I think will allow some more flexibility if people do want to work at home.
So whether it's Zoom or it's another platform, I think the Brady Bunch style of looking at our peers on a computer screen is probably here to stay.
And on that note, be sure to write down your Zoom username and password. I'm Olivia Hirsch, and you're watching Buckeye TV News.
Very fascinating, Olivia. Now, with the ongoing dangers of COVID cases on campus, some students believe they will be sent home soon. So, if this is the case, we'll always see refund students for money, for housing and tuition. James John has a story.
The housing and dining services, since we won't be using them.
I'd say if they send people home, then they would definitely have to give at least like a partial refund because the people paid for housing and the gyms and libraries, stuff like that. And if they sent them home, then that's money that people paid for those resources and they aren't getting them.
There may be more to simply refunding tuition to students. OSU has already lost financially with refunding a percentage of tuition from last semester. The refund came with housing and dining services with a prorated refund of recreational fees to students, faculty, and staff. The 2021 budget plan projects a 7.6% decrease from last year. So is a refund really possible with OSU's budget this semester?
If Ohio State were to send all in-campus students home, I believe that they should provide a partial refund we can start with the obvious, starting from like the tuition standpoint and the room and board standpoint. So starting with room and board, I think the amount of time that they weren't in the dorms, whatever the percentage is, that should get refunded if they were sent home. They should probably get some sort of a stipend for, like kids who don't have somewhere to go. Like they should get some sort of assistance to do that. Food, whatever. Since campus is gonna be closed and all the food places are gonna be gone, either push those, like if they have dining dollars, push that to the next semester, or if they have swipes, somehow refund that.
This idea has been talked about over many campuses, and as campuses have the tendency to follow each other's paths, it really depends on schools as a whole to decide how to deal with campus cancellation financially. For Buckeye TV, I'm James John.
Yes, so now we have to take a quick break. But stay tuned. While we know Ohio State's football season will eventually be coming back this year, the fate of the rest of the university's fall sports is still unknown. We're going to be discussing how the rest of the fall sports were affected by COVID-19 after this.